Now, the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities is aimed at building a more inclusive and equitable society and world for persons living with disabilities. But how exactly do we get there as a country? Well, Jeremiah and Pauline Muasya are a deaf couple, and all their children are also deaf. Dorcas Wangira spent some time with them in their home and now reports.
I am free, because Jesus loves me. I am free, I have a future. A silent melody from her heart welcomes us into the single-room home in Embakasi South. Almost everyone who lives in this story building knows this family.
My name is Mary Muasya. I live with my parents, my elder and younger sister.
Pauline Muasya is in her late 20s. She can't hear us, but she wasn't born this way. At the age of 2, her parents realized that while playing with other children, she gradually began to lose her hearing.
I didn't understand what was happening. I don't even know what was happening to me. But at least I went to school up to class 8.
A difficult transition was in store for them who had to cope with a disability. Pauline, who was born and raised in Kitui, went through a special school and was skilled as a tailor in a vocational school. Her sister helped her to get a casual job at EPZ at the river, but in 2007 she came to Nairobi to look for better opportunity. She got more than that. At the Emmanuel Church for the Deaf, she would meet Jeremiah Muasya Mutunga, now aged 32. 10 years since, they're now parents of 3 girls, Jane aged 10, Mary aged 9, and 5-month-old Lucy. Jeremiah has just picked Jane from the Machako Special School of the Deaf. None of them knows what their siblings or parents sound like, but they understand each other in a language that transcends sound. Jeremiah, who comes from Boni Makueni, at least had lived in a silent home.
I never expected to get any deaf baby.
My parents were also shocked to see that I have a deaf family. I also have 3 deaf brothers. It is really challenging when you meet with the hearing. They do not understand you, and I know that my children will face these challenges.
But they're not alone. The International Day of the Disability held each year casts light on the plight of disabled persons. According to the 2009 National Population Census, there are 1.3 million disabled persons in the country, 187,818 having hearing impairment. Data from the National Councils of Persons with Disability and WHO, however, posits the number to be at 2 to 4 million, with close to 600,000 being deaf. The clamor has been to create a world that is equitable and inclusive of persons with disability. In 2010, the income tax exemptions order for persons with disabilities became effective by law. Only a person registered with a disability council earning less than 150,000 shillings is eligible for the tax exemption, as well as tax relief from drugs and treatment in hospitals. One would need a medical report that states the nature of the disability and confirmation of how it adversely affects their social and economic participation, and a letter from the employer stating the nature of disability and how it affects the employee's productivity at work before making the application to KRA. After vetting, the exemption certificate may be given, valid for 3 years or denied. One can appeal for it. But not so many disabled persons, more than half who live in rural areas, are aware of their right. Currently, Pauline is not employed. She had worked as a tailor and earned a temporary 3-month placement at a private bakery at Enterprise Road, Nairobi. After giving birth, she tells us she was no longer able to go back to work. Her income on average was 13,000 shillings, subject to tax of at least 1,324 shillings. She doesn't know about her eligibility for the exemption. Jeremiah, however, has made his application. His current engagement is a largely manual job at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
Most deaf get mega salaries, very little, but I will have to look for something else so that I can take care of the children.
Nonetheless, the silent home is one of contentment. It's common for deafness to be inherited, occasionally caused by infections, injury, and exposure to loud noises. Pauline and Jeremy are not looking for explanations for how they are, but an equitable and inclusive world not just for themselves, but also their children. Dorcas, KTN News, Nairobi.